You ever wonder how some businesses just get you? How they seem to have exactly what you need almost before you even realize you need it? Yeah, it's not magic. It's marketing. And trust me, it goes way deeper than you probably think. So let's pull back the curtain.
I mean, what is marketing really? It's a word we hear all the time, right? And when we do, it's so easy to just picture the usual stuff. You know, the catchy jingles, those giant billboards, the ads that follow you everywhere. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's a tiny piece of a much, much bigger and way more interesting picture. So yeah, the common view is that marketing is all about pushing products. But the real deal? It's so much deeper than that. It's really about understanding what people actually need, creating something of genuine value, and then building real, lasting relationships. And getting your head around that fundamental shift in thinking? Well, that's the secret sauce. It's what separates the businesses that just kind of struggle along from the ones that absolutely crush it.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. We'll start with what marketing really is. Then we'll look at how it evolved from just selling stuff to actually serving people. We'll get into this cool everything matters approach, decode what's going on in your customer's mind, and then we'll wrap it all up with a story to see it in action.
Okay, let's jump right in with that big question. If marketing isn't just about ads, then what on earth is it?
You know, when you boil it all down, the simplest, most powerful definition is this: meeting needs profitably. That's it. Seriously. It's all about spotting a human or social need and then figuring out a way to fill that need that, works out for everyone. The customer gets what they want and the business can sustain itself. Win-win.
Let's think about how this actually works in the real world. Take eBay. They didn't just, invent a bunch of stuff to sell. They saw a real need. People were struggling to find weird, specific, collectible items, right? So eBay built a platform to connect those buyers and sellers. Same thing with IKEA. They noticed that people wanted furniture that looked good, that was stylish, but didn't cost a fortune. So what do? They completely re-engineered their whole business model to meet that exact desire. See? It always starts with the need.
But here's the thing. This whole customer-first idea, it wasn't always the way things are done. Business philosophy has actually gone through a pretty interesting evolution to get here, moving through a few really distinct phases.
So, way back when, a lot of companies were all about the production concept. Basically, just make a ton of stuff as efficiently and cheaply as possible. Then, things shifted to the product concept, which was all about making the absolute best quality product, the most innovative thing on the market. But here's the problem with both of those. They can totally fail if nobody actually wants what you're making, right? And that's what led to the aggressive selling concept. The mindset here was, okay, we made all this stuff, now we just have to push it on people, sell it hard. But the real game changer, the big breakthrough, was the marketing concept. This is where the light bulb went on. It's the idea that you should stop trying to find customers for your products and start finding products for your customers. Huge difference.
And Harvard's Theodore Levitt just nailed this distinction. He said, selling focuses on the needs of the seller, marketing on the needs of the buyer. Just letting that sink in, understanding that one little sentence, that's what changes the entire game.
So building on that powerful idea, we get to the modern way of thinking, the framework for success today. And the core idea is pretty simple. In marketing, absolutely everything matters.
This is what's called the holistic marketing concept, and it's built on 4 super important pillars. First up, you've got relationship marketing. This isn't about one-and-done sales. It's about building deep, long-term connections. Second is integrated marketing. This means making sure all your different activities, your product, your price, where you sell it, how you promote it, all sing from the same hymn sheet. They have to work together. Third, and this is a big one that people often forget, is internal marketing. This is about making sure everyone inside your company, from the CEO all the way down, is aligned and focused on serving the customer. And finally, there's socially responsible marketing. This means thinking beyond just profits and considering your ethical and social impact on the world.
All right, so if we're going to put all this into practice, we need to get into the nitty-gritty. We have to understand the fundamental building blocks that marketers use to basically decode what's going on inside a customer's head. And it all kicks off with a really important distinction, the difference between needs and wants. Needs are the basic, universal things all humans require. Food, water, shelter, safety, the essentials. Wants, on the other hand, are the specific ways we choose to satisfy those needs. For example, I need food, but I might want a giant, juicy hamburger. You might want a fresh mango and some rice. Those wants are shaped by our society, our culture, and our own personal tastes.
Okay, but for a business, there's a third piece of the puzzle here, and it's absolutely critical. That's demands. So what's the demand? It's simple.
It's a want for a specific product that's backed up by the ability to actually pay for it. Think about it. Tons of people might want a Ferrari, right? But only a very small number of them can actually demand one because they have the cash. For any business, being able to understand and measure that real demand, that's everything.
So once you've got a handle on your customers' needs, wants, and demands, you've got to ask the next big question. How are we going to stand out from the crowd? And that, my friends, is positioning. It's all about designing your brand, your product, your image to occupy a very specific, very distinct place in the mind of your target customer.
And what's the classic perfect example of this? Volvo. For decades, decades, they have just relentlessly hammered home one single idea: safety. Everything they do, their ads, their engineering, their design, it all points back to that one core concept. So now, when a customer thinks, I need a safe car, what pops into their head? Volvo. That is textbook, powerful, effective positioning.
Okay, I know these concepts can feel a little abstract, a little academic. So let's bring it all down to earth. Let's tie it all together with a quick story to see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world.
All right, so meet Alex. Alex owns a small, really cozy little coffee shop called The Daily Grind. He pours his heart and soul into it. But then, one day, disaster strikes. A huge, flashy, corporate coffee chain opens up right down the street. They've got lower prices, nonstop ads, and Alex, understandably, starts to panic.
So what's his first instinct? It's to fight fire with fire, right? Slash his prices, try to compete head on. That's that old selling concept we talked about. Just push the product, compete on price. But then, he has a moment of clarity, a real marketing insight. He realizes he's never going to win a price war with this giant chain, but he can win on community. So he makes a shift. He stops just selling cheap coffee and starts offering his customers a cherished daily moment. And he puts that holistic approach into action. First, internal marketing. He trains his baristas to remember people's names, their favorite orders, empowering them to be more than just employees. They become hosts of a great experience. Then he doubles down on relationship marketing. He starts hosting open mic nights, showcasing local artists. He turns the Daily Grind into a true community hub, not just another place to grab a coffee.
And the result? It was incredible. People didn't just come for the cheapest coffee anymore. They came for that feeling of belonging. They came for the connection. They came for that cherished daily moment Alex was offering. He built this incredibly deep customer loyalty, and his business didn't just survive, it thrived. Not in spite of the competition, but you could almost say because of it.
All right, so let's boil all this down. What are the three big things you really need to remember from all this? First, at its core, marketing is just about meeting human and social needs profitably. Second, that holistic marketing concept, the idea that everything matters, that should be your guiding star. It all has to work in harmony. And third, really understanding those core ideas, needs, wants, and positioning, that's your practical roadmap to success. Look, whether you're running a global corporation or just sketching an idea on a napkin, these concepts are your foundation. And that brings me to the final question I want to leave you with, something to really chew on. What unspoken need is out there right now just waiting for you to be the one to meet it?